There's no way this bladeless fan's hurting anyone, but it works really well. Let's check it out. Dave Taylor here, and I'm checking out this. This is the NUMIFUN Bladeless Tower Fan, and it's actually pretty nice. Tiny bit inexplicable with its controls, but we'll get there. Let me just say, it is a 3-speed bladeless tower fan. So even while it's running, I can do this and I'm not going to chop my hand off, right? So bladed fans are dangerous. They might work really well and it might be a very simple design, but something like this is, number one, more elegant, and number two, way safer with animals and children, and it just looks really cool, right? So it has 3 speeds. It has 3 wind modes that are normal, natural, and sleep, and those are denoted on the front. In fact, let me give you a close-up of the front here. They're denoted by wind, tree, and moon. It's also oscillating and has a remote control. In fact, instead of me talking about it, let's turn it on, right? And now this remote control, it's kind of a funky little design. It needs a CR2025 battery, but it comes with one that I'm guessing will last for years. And then you can control things. So I control the speed of the fan. There's 3 speeds, right? And then I can control the wind mode, and you can see on the front, the little lights are lighting up, and look, the fan is on, and I can do this with my hand. That's really nice. So I can change the wind mode. There's a slight change in the pitch, but I don't really understand what it changes, so that might not be such a big deal. You can turn on and off the oscillation, which is nice. Notice that it oscillates about 30 degrees off center in both directions. And there's a timer, and the timer is actually kind of fun. You're going to have to brush up your math skills on its display because it only shows a couple of different time units, but you can go anywhere from 30 minutes to 7.5 hours. And as you push the time display, it just lights up different buttons, and you have to sort of add all those buttons up to figure out how much time you have. So, interesting design. It's easy to clean. You can see, you can dust the whole thing even while it's working. Super easy to work with. It is pretty tall. It's a pretty big fan, bigger than I expected actually. It is 37 inches tall and 12 inches wide at the base and 11 inches deep. So you'll want to have at least that much space. If I turn it around, let me just turn it off for a second. If I turn it around, you can see the air intake is on the back, and you'll want to occasionally dust that and keep that clean, but that's really all the maintenance you have to do. Bladed fans tend to get really dirty, so I'm not a fan of those. So I'll turn this back on, and it is 10 pounds, so it's pretty light. It's pretty easy to move from room to room, but you're probably not going to. You're probably going to plug it in. It has a 6-foot wire, 2-prong plug on it. So it's something where if you really need to have it in that exact corner and there's no outlet, you might need an extension cord. But otherwise, this works perfectly well. Let's go ahead and get this rotating again. And since it's really hard for you to tell how much air is being pushed, I have my air speed indicator. So let's see, let's get this to, okay, this is the slowest speed. You can see by it moving where we are, and then I will go 1 higher. And of course, probably having it rotate while we're doing this is suboptimal, so I'll stop that. So here's that second speed, and then high speed. There's actually a pretty decent amount of air being pushed out of this thing, all the while there's no blades, right? So what's actually happening, as far as I can tell with these, is that there's actually a fan here pointing upward, and then all the air just gets pushed out the front along this little tiny slot. So, you know, it's not like it's magically no fans, but there's no blades that actually are where you can interact with them. So if you have a curious kitten, or you have a little 3-year-old whose fingers get in everything, this is an entirely safe floor fan to have running all day, or to turn it on at night and let it run until like 1 or 2 in the morning when you know that everything actually gets nice and quiet. So it's really all I have to say. I really like this. I have lots of fans on. I also have air conditioning, but I find that I don't have to put my AC quite as low if I have air moving, and particularly air coming onto me. So that's a sort of money saving tip there for you, which is probably pretty helpful. And the only other thing to talk about is the price. But before we get to the price, I'm going to ask, if you don't mind, go ahead and click or tap on that subscribe button. Really appreciate when you subscribe, and give me a thumbs up if you found this useful. In terms of any negatives or criticisms I have, I will say that the finish on the blue plastic part is not entirely consistent. Here's a close-up photo just so you can see what I mean. No one's going to notice that unless they come up and really inspect it super close, but otherwise it's entirely functional. In terms of the design of the remote control, well, it does have buttons and they do have icons on them, so I guess it is entirely functional. Could they have designed it differently? Could they have made it a little more fun? Maybe, but on the other hand, this is something that you'll use once in a blue moon. Now, I do also like fans where there's a little holder so you can like put the remote control on it when you're not using it so that you know where it is. Otherwise, this is just going to get lost in your couch. But that's on you. So this is the NUMIFUN Bladeless Tower Fan, and it's $129.99 minus $30 discount right now on Amazon when I checked, making it $99.99 at Amazon.com. And that's a pretty solid price for something that pushes this much air through, and you can put in a corner, control it as you need, and then forget about it and just cool the heck off. So definitely one to check out. I'm going to put it back on my floor and get back to work. So I'll hope to catch you in my next video.